Okay, so we're going to wrap up factoring for a while, and this is going to be a review of all the different kinds of factoring that we have done so far and what they look like. So this can be kind of your reference paper in terms of what your answers will look like based on the kinds of problems given. And so we're going to factor 5x plus 10. So whenever we factor a binomial with two terms like this, the answer will always look like so. And so we remember the GCF is out in front. And so we can find the GCF of 5x and 10, 5x, 5 times x, 10, 2 times 5. GCF here is the number 5. So that number goes out front, and then we see here times x plus 2. So that's how we factor binomials. And so when we have a trinomial, try 3 terms, x squared plus 5x minus 14. So this has 3 terms. Now, whenever we factor something like this, the answer is going to look like blank plus blank times blank plus blank. It'll usually be x plus 1 times x plus 2, something like that. But that's a little different than the box on the left. So when you factor trinomial, it looks like this. And so since a does equal 1, and remember a is the number in front of the x squared, since that equals 1, we can factor this using the shortcut, okay? And so the shortcut was finding two numbers that add up to the middle number 5, two numbers that multiply to whatever a times c is. A is 1 times negative 14, so we want two numbers that multiply to negative 14. And so when we find those numbers, that's going to be negative 2 and positive 7. The shortcut is remembering that these numbers are the numbers that go right after the x plus. We have x plus negative 2 and x plus 7. There is your answer. And so notice how we have a trinomial again, and so our answer is going to be like so. But this time the a, the number in front of the x squared, is not 1. So since it's not 1, the first thing we always try to do is we try to factor out a GCF from all three of these. So it's like what we did on the first half of the lesson today, except there's 3 total terms. And so there is a GCF we can factor out. It's going to end up being 2, and so this is 2 times x, this is 2 times 2 times x, and this is just 1 times 2. We see here that the GCF is 2, so we can factor out a GCF here. Okay, and so that means that number 2 goes out front, and then whatever is left over is on the inside. So we get 2 times x squared, because x times x is x squared, plus 2x, plus what's left over is 1. So this is our factored form. So now, since on the inside of these parentheses, now the a is 1. So in front of this x squared, this is 1 now. There's an invisible 1. So now since the a is 1, we can factor the inside using the shortcut. We're just going to leave that 2 on the outside. So we want two numbers that add up to the number 2 that multiply to the number 1, because a times c, the a is 1, the c is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, and those numbers are 1 and 1. So that means we use the shortcut, x plus, we just let the 2 hang out front. We already factored that out, took care of that. 1 and 1. There is our answer. Lastly, when we have a trinomial like this, a does not equal 1 once again, and we're going to try to factor out a GCF. But we'll notice for this one, we cannot factor out a GCF because there is no GCF. There's no number that's in all three. So since we can't factor out a GCF, the a is just straight up not going to be 1, it's 2. Okay, we can't factor that out like we did on the previous one, use a shortcut. We have to factor these ones using the original method. And the original method is the lengthier process, but we still want two numbers that add up to 3 and multiply to whatever a times c is. A times c is 2 times 1, which is 2. And so these numbers are going to be 2 and 1. And so the original method is where we had to split up that middle term using these two numbers. And this is the only type of problem that you will have to do that with. And so once we split up that middle term, we split up this 3x into 2x plus 1x, because those are the numbers we got here. Once we do that, we have to factor both sides. We have to factor this half, and we have to factor this half. And so this is just like what we did on the first assignment today. We want to find the GCF of 2x squared and 2x. So we know that 2x squared is 2 times x times x. We know that 2x is 2 times x, so our GCF is 2x. And so we take that 2x, we put that out front, we get 2x times x plus 1. We can put times 1 here, plus, and then we factor out 1x plus 1. 1x, 1, 1 times x, 1 is 1, so we factor out a 1. That number goes out front, 1 times x plus 1, and then this was a little weird step that we have to take this x plus 1 and factor that out, which gives us x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. There is your answer. Thank you for listening.